Welcome to Families in Action on your local hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I'm Cary Quashen, along with my co-host, the Silver Fox, alias Michael Duarte.
How you doing, Cary?
I'm really good. I'm excited about the hobby shop that's opening up. I was just listening to those guys. It sounds fun, huh?
Oh, I love that. I used to go in when I was a kid to a hobby store and get model cars.
Remember the slot car races?
It was wonderful.
And all that?
Oh, yeah.
That was really, really cool. So how was your weekend before we start?
It was wonderful. How about yours? And by the way, I wanted to, before you mentioned about your weekend, I saw some pictures. You've been doing a lot of television.
I've been doing a lot of television.
A lot of national television.
Yes, a lot of national television. A couple of things. One, I've been doing a lot of Channel 7 news, so there'll be some drug stories coming on. Look for them. And then I've been doing the Robert Irvine show as one of his resident experts. When it comes to drugs, most of the time it's me. Mm-hmm. And there's 5 shows that hasn't aired yet, so keep an eye on it. It's on every day, Channel 5. I'm on I think it's either 2 or 3 o'clock. But
okay.
it's a pretty interesting show. You don't want to miss it. So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Fun. I know. You've been doing that for a while now, ever since they started the show, right?
Yeah, ever since they started the show. I think I've done 5 shows or 6 shows.
Wow. All right.
Already. So, yeah, so it's pretty cool.
You're that national go-to guy.
Yeah, it looks like it, huh? So it's pretty exciting stuff. Hey, Mike, did you know that Families in Action is brought to you by your local hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. We've been on the air going on 13 years.
That's a fact.
A long time.
Gave you a place to go every Monday.
Every Monday. And also by Action Family Counseling, which is alcohol and drug rehabilitation centers. We have everything from outpatient to residential inpatient and everything in between. And then there's the Action Foundation, which I will let you talk about.
Cary, as you well know, the Action Foundation does so many things. I mean, we could just go down a long list. But one of the things that they're doing is a once-a-year kind of thing. Actually, I think 2 times this year, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, it's the SCV Drug Take Back that's sponsored by the Action Family Foundation. And that's coming up this coming Saturday for those who are watching us live or listening to us live. Saturday, October 22nd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. right in front of the hospital. This is cool. KHTS AM 1220 is behind this, so is Henry Mayo Newhall Hospital and the SCV Sheriff, all together with the Action Foundation. People can come up. There's no questions asked. We don't care where you got the drugs from.
Actually, it's actually put on by Action, sponsored by the Sheriff, Henry Mayo, and KHTS.
Thank you for clearing that up. Yes. So, yeah, the Foundation's really in there, but no questions asked. We don't care what the drugs are. You just bring them. They're going to get put into boxes, and then what happens is the DEA is actually going to dispose of them.
We don't even look at the drugs.
No, we don't
even care what you're giving us.
I wear my little rubber gloves.
Yeah, you can give us expired aspirin or heroin or cocaine. It doesn't matter. Whatever you give us goes in a box. We don't look at it. Nobody cares. It gets incinerated. It's safe.
You don't want to leave them in your medicine cabinet because that for one thing, somebody's going to come along and say, oh, let's clean out the medicine cabinet, and they may throw those down the toilet. You don't want to do that. You don't want to flush them. And you sure don't want your teenagers getting a hold of them or your young kids. I mean, when I was all of 5 years old, I crawled up onto the counter and opened the medicine cabinet in our house to see what was up there.
I could see you doing that, Mike.
I did it. Fortunately, I did not put anything in my mouth.
I could see you crawling up and doing that.
I came very close to finding out what X-Lax was.
Oh, that would have been.
It was a chocolate bar in the medicine cabinet.
That would have been in those days a Polaroid.
It was been bad. Fortunately, my mom convinced me I needed to get down quickly.
But back. Just take a second on this one. Let's stay here for a minute. I deal with people, obviously, with substance abuse problems, and I deal with children, too. And when I ask the kids, where did you get the pills? Usually because of some kind of overdose or ER visit, they always say the same thing. Either my medicine cabinet or my friend's medicine cabinet.
Yeah.
So, when you have children and they're babies, you don't worry much. You worry about them crying and you want to feed them and change their diapers. When they start crawling, then I call baby-proof your house. You put little baby locks on cabinets and make sure that things are out of their way. And if there's sharps, you cover it up.
There are plugs you can put it in your electrical outlets.
Right. So you want to make sure that those kids are safe. As they grow up, I say drug-proof your house. Teenage-proof your house, because you never know what they can find around your house. I remember when we were talking about inhalants and all those kinds of stuff, and we were talking about even dust off. because I've known kids, very young kids, that figured, okay, I can huff that and it's not a drug, and they've died.
Yes.
So we really need to take a look at what's going on in our house and keep things that are dangerous out of our children's way. That means all prescription medication.
Right.
And then, well, but my kid's never going to do that. Maybe you're right, but what about their friends? So you just never really know. We have what you call pill parties.
Right.
Here in Santa Clarita, where somebody will say, go through your cabinets, bring everything you can. And here's what shows up at those parties. Xanax, very big. Ativan, Valiums, Oxycontins, Vicodin, Soma.
Any drugs that the doctor might give you for pain relief and that sort of thing.
Yeah, if it says anxiety, pain, sleep, those are the pills that these kids are taking or people are taking. And in fact, it's such a crisis right now that even when it comes to real estate, people are going to open houses, going through medicine cabinets. So people selling homes are told by realtors now, if you have any narcotics, please put them in a safe, make sure they're out of harm's way.
Wow. So we have that issue, and then we have the issue of people who may have had someone in their family who is or has been very ill.
Right.
And we've had people come up to the drug take back and say, here's with a box of things, and that they had them in their garage or what have you, or been driving around with them. And in some cases, they were even bringing needles and syringes because they had to have injections.
Yeah, one time we weren't doing sharps, but we had so many people bringing them that we actually have a box just for sharps now.
Yeah.
So you can bring anything you want. And yes, you can even bring old over-the-counter medications if you don't know what to do, like aspirin. If it's overdated, bring them.
And it only takes a couple of minutes, literally. You drive up, we're right there in the front, the main entrance to the hospital, can't miss us. Pull right up, get rid of the drugs, and drive off. Have a nice day.
No excuse. You don't even have to get out of your car. One of us will come up to the car. We don't look at your license plate. We don't care who you are. We don't care what you got. We want them off the street safely.
That's this coming, for those of you who are listening to this live. It's Saturday, October 22nd, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in front of Henry Mayo. Cary and I will both be there. We'll say hello to you if you'd like. Otherwise, if you don't want to meet Cary, you just want to lay low, just drop off the drugs and take off.
Why wouldn't they want to meet me, Mike?
I don't know. They might have. They might have met you before.
You might have just hurt my feelings.
I'm sorry.
I'm just teasing.
We have therapists that can handle that.
We do.
We do.
There's help. Good thing I work at the behavioral health unit, right?
That's right, Cary. We talk about this every Monday on the show, but 5 people will die in this hour that we're doing a show.
That's minimum. A minimum. Those are old numbers, Mike.
Right.
Those are the newest, but they're still 2 years old.
Related to pharmaceutical, opioids, and heroin. These are accidental deaths, drug overdoses. 5 people. But I have something in the action file today that will eclipse this, if you can believe it.
Before you get there, I know where you're going. But every day, every hour, 5 people minimum lose their life to an accidental drug overdose. And I can guarantee you that a huge percentage of that, and look it up, is prescription pills. Mm-hmm. And that's why we really want to get rid of these pills. Saturday, bring your pills. Let's get rid of them. Let's make it safe for everybody. And just this is just throwing out information to do with as you see fit. Mm-hmm. I was talking to one of the docs a few months ago, and we have this conversation a lot. And we were talking at that time about muscle relaxers. And he said, great drug. If you have muscle spasms and stuff like that, it's a great drug for a short period of time. Mm. He says, because if you take them more than a couple of weeks, you're going to get a physical dependency. Now, there's a lot of drugs out there, especially today, that are extremely strong, and doctors don't want you to feel pain.
Right.
But here you got the Vicodin, the Oxys, the Somas, the Benzos, all those drugs. We can get a physical dependency by using them for any period of time longer than a week or so. Mm-hmm. So I guess where I'm going with this is you really need to really, really question what you're doing when it comes to taking these pills. And you really, really need to make sure you're under a medical attention with your doc and you're talking about the physical dependency. Because in the last couple of years, I've actually detoxed more people that became accidentally addicted to these drugs than you can imagine.
Oh, wow.
So it's one of those kind of things.
Literally innocently, too.
No, I mean that.
Yeah.
With no track record, no history of drugs, of substance abuse, no alcoholism, no pot, no nothing. But they went in, got surgery, something happened, and they had to take these pills for good reason and got a dependency issue.
Yeah.
So we really have to take care of a business and really listen to our body. Problem with opiates, Mike, is let's say you had surgery, right? Mm-hmm. And in the surgery, you need pain. You have pain, so you need pain medication.
I can attest to that.
Yes, but a lot of people take the pain medication for a week, 2 weeks, and then somewhat get a lightweight physical dependency. So when they try to come off the drug, their mind is actually tricked to believe they're in more pain.
Right.
And really it has to do with coming off the drugs. Mm-hmm. So we really have to listen to our body and make sure that we're getting medical attention so we don't get a dependency on these narcotics. Mm-hmm. So it's really something.
And as you said before, it can happen so innocently. I recall years ago when I was in my 20s, I had to have some oral surgery on a tooth.
Yeah.
And after it was over with, the doctor gave me some medication. I don't even remember what it was now, but they were really big pills, I remember.
Yes.
And he said, as soon as you start feeling pain, and you're going to feel some pretty good pain, he said, you take one of those.
Right. They want you to stay. They want you to stay
on
ahead
top
of the
it,
pain,
right? And then continue as long as you've got that pain. I remember my mouth was still somewhat numb, and I started getting this intense pain. I actually had to help shove the pill down my throat with my finger.
Right.
And I swallowed this thing. Very shortly thereafter, I was in la-la land. I mean, I was floating. I was unbelievable.
Well, that's what we call you.
Scary.
That would be what we call you a lightweight.
Yeah. Well, I was. I mean, hey. But the next day, I threw those away.
Right. Only take them as necessary. Here's a crazy deal. If you have, like, let's say low back pain, it's not excruciating, but it hurts, or a bad headache. Let's say back pain, okay? And you take a Vicodin, it's going to mask the pain.
Sure.
What we're finding by bringing people in rehabs that's been taking Vicodin for those little back pains, forever they mask it, then they get a dependency. We take them off the drug. Now they're taking ibuprofen, which actually gets rid of some of the inflammatory stuff. Mm-hmm. And not only it doesn't mask it, it actually helps it. Mm-hmm. So there's so many different things that you can do out there that is a lot safer than some of these pain meds.
And unfortunately, if you recall, now they're allowing doctors to give very young children some of these medications.
Yes, pretty scary.
And that is scary.
But I get it. I mean, I'm not gonna knock the whole thing. I'm just saying it's dangerous and we have to be careful. But if we have a child that's 10 years old and just had surgery, I get it. Mm-hmm. I mean, you don't want them to feel pain.
No. So. And again, we have hit the nail right on the head with respect to what you were talking about moments ago, and that is how innocently we can end up with these powerful drugs in our medicine cabinet.
Yeah, and it's crazy how many people. I'm just thinking. I mean, I deal with drug addicts, mm-hmm. and we got heroin addicts and pill poppers and potheads and alcoholism. And I mean, you can name it. We deal with it, right? But it's amazing how many accidental drug addicts that we're dealing with. They really have no addiction problems in the past. They just got addicted to these pain meds.
Yeah, and there are national figures that come to my mind. I know Jerry Lewis, the famous comedian and filmmaker, had done what they call a pratfall on stage, which meaning part of the act he was to fall, and he accidentally fell on a broadcast cable connector. Those are made out of metal, and he hit his spine, I guess, and he had a lot of tremendous pain after that, and so he was given pain medication to manage it, and he ended up addicted to that.
Anybody can, Mike.
Yeah.
These pills are physically addictive. That means if anybody takes them for any period of time, they can get a physical dependency, just like that. And then you try to stop and your body starts hurting.
Sure.
So you can either believe, oh my God, I still need them, or you can go, oh, I'm addicted to these. And all before you know it, you got a problem. You got a dependency problem.
It can happen. And to put that in perspective for almost everyone listening, it happens when people say, you know, I'm gonna get off coffee. I'm drinking way too much coffee. I'm gonna get off soda pop, and they get the caffeine headache,
migraine headaches. It feels like a migraine headache. I remember when I drank a lot of caffeine and stuff, I got headaches
because your body wants that caffeine. Yes. That's what it's craving.
Yeah, you get addicted to it,
and you didn't even realize it. Here you were just enjoying a cup of coffee, but you felt like you had to have it. Well, guess what? Your body was telling you, I have to have it.
Same with nicotine.
Yeah,
nicotine's as hard to quit as any other drug.
Maybe harder. I know my mom told me one time, she said, I'm so glad I'm not an alcoholic because I'm not having much luck getting off the nicotine.
I've been clean and sober 35 years. It was a journey. But I haven't had a cigarette in 27 years. That was hard.
That was harder.
That was harder. On that note, Michael,
we'll be right back with more Families in Action right after these messages.